Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mariane Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mariane Pinkston.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mariane Pinkston. I am Dr. Mariane Pinkston, and I'm here on San Antonio Radio on AM 930 KLUP, 930 The Answer, I believe is correct. And I also podcast out to YouTube and all of the platforms for the podcasts like iTunes and Spotify and all the things that you guys use out there. So please listen, and you can go to drpbetterlife.com and find all of the links to all the platforms. So please join us and watch some of the past shows. I've been doing this for a year now. I can't believe that it's been a year, and it's been a great one. So go back and look at all the great shows that we have. And so, on the heels of saying a great show, I've got another one for you today. And I've got somebody that I have come to love and adore that is with me from Berkeley Life. This is Beth Shirley, who is a pharmacist and clinical nutritionist. And my goodness, one of the most intelligent people I have ever met in my life. And we are going to talk about one of Berkeley Life's products that I think is absolutely revolutionary. And I can say that because it has revolutionized my life. As most people know, I have rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune hepatitis and some other issues, but I have an energy issue. I try to go 90 miles an hour, my hair on fire all the time, and I have an energy issue. And so I think lots of people have this issue, and she has the answer. Isn't that great? So welcome in, Beth. It's good to see you this morning.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
I am thrilled to have you. So I would love for you to give me a little bit of an opener here about what this product is and what it does.
Okay, so Berkeley Life is a nitrate-based product. So nitrates are what's in the good veggies that help keep our blood pressure good. So nitrates are metabolized into nitric oxide. It's a nitrate to nitrite to nitric oxide pathway. So nitric oxide is at the base of every single physiological process. It governs our circulation and microcirculation. Mm-hmm. So this means it allows the oxygen, glucose, and nutrients to be delivered to the cells. And just as importantly, the debris to be carried away. So cells can't be more than 2 cells away from a microcapillary in order to be able to get their nutrition. So the other pathway we make nitric oxide through this enzyme, NOS, nitric oxide synthase, it becomes disabled as we get older. In fact, by the time we're 40, it only functions about 50%.
That's crazy.
And by the time we're 60, it's only functioning about 15%.
Wow.
So that's why it's so important to support this other pathway.
Absolutely. And that is, you say that I've told my patients over and over again in their kind of last half of their 30s, around 36, 37, 38, especially 39, 40. That's when it seems most people begin to really lose their ability to just get up and go and function and think well. I mean, everything that people describe that they need and want, they seem to lose at that point. And I have a feeling that this is the basis. If you're not getting your oxygen, if you're not getting your, the glucose molecules and everything that you need into your cells, you can't think and go and do everything that you need to do. So if at the heart of that is this, then this product helps you to maintain that.
Right. Our brain, even though it's only about 2% of our body weight, it requires more than 25% of the total oxygen consumption.
Wow.
And so that circulation and microcirculation needs to be open in the brain for us to be able to think.
So do you think that, I know dementia and Alzheimer's and losing memory and things like that are at the height of a lot of people's minds these days. And this could be an underlying issue with that. I'm sure there's so many issues, but I'm sure this is a huge issue underlying it.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Hypertension high blood pressure actually precedes dementia by a couple decades.
Right. Right.
And so that means the blood isn't getting to these cells. Remember, I said that those cells can't be more than 2 cells away from an open microcapillary.
Right.
And we're really having an issue with this nowadays with the virus and now with the shots.
Yes.
And all this cardiovascular complications with both of those.
Right.
So by optimizing the nitric oxide through this, with the Berkeley, with the nitrate supplement, you're actually keeping those microcapillaries open instead of clotting up like what this spike protein is actually doing to us.
Right. And the other thing that it's an option for erectile dysfunction as well.
Exactly.
So I'll kind of throw that in because I know that is something that many men deal with, and it's women too in just their marriages,
and women too.
Absolutely.
We need adequate nitric oxide in order to be able to feel down there, to be able to respond.
Absolutely.
And lubrication is nitric oxide mediated.
It's every part of your body is nitric oxide mediated, and so without that, and I hate to view this as something so simplistic, but it is. And
it's the base.
It is. It's at the base of everything. So, when you're looking at all these products that people buy, trying to improve their energy and, make themselves feel better, think better, go better, that is you've got to go to the absolute basics. There's so many complicated products out there and you can spend so much money on things, but you've just got to go back to the basics. And I think that just oxygen and the glucose and then, building nitric oxide and just the base of your cells to get you up and going. Now, I personally noticed a tremendous difference. I know you and I had talked some time ago and I had, tried it, but I don't think I was taking it correctly. So after we visited and I was able to restart the product, then I think really the first day, honestly, and going into work, I have noticed a significant difference. And there's also test strips that you can buy to test and see what your levels are. We've used that in clinic a bit and see what your levels are. And, when people test initially, it doesn't even change the color most of the time of the test strip. But after taking one dose, it changes it all the way out and sustains most of the day. If you take it twice a day, you get up and get energy better, but you also sleep better. I mean, your entire functioning, you think better. I just have noticed such a change. And so I've given it to my daughter, who I believe also has a similar disease like I do, and she's done very well with it as well. But you don't have to be sick, in order to take it either. It's just a generalized, as we age, right? It goes down. It's just something that we need to replace and do. So what are the things that, that in finding this, where do we go wrong losing our nitric oxide? Is it just our capability of making it anyway? Where do we go wrong? Is there something else that people can do in conjunction with it that, helps improve our energy and our ability to feed ourselves?
We can't do much about our age, but we can do something about our diet.
Right.
We can add these nitrate-rich veggies, the arugula, the spinach, the bok choy, the butter lettuce, celery, beets. We can add those.
Right.
So EMFs, we're swimming in the sea of EMFs, and these EMFs actually interfere with the production of nitric oxide.
Mm-hmm.
So
we can studied, right? I mean, we do have legitimate studies that show that these electronic waves like 5G and things like that do affect our cells. I mean, it's awfully nice to have our phones working really quickly and fast, but we don't understand that this truly affects our body.
It increases oxidative stress. Mm-hmm. And what oxidative stress does, it uncouples that NOS enzyme. Mm-hmm. And so when NOS is uncoupled, it can't produce nitric oxide anymore. It produces superoxide. So this increases that oxidative stress even more.
Right.
And there's an oxidative stress and inflammatory part of every single chronic issue.
Every single chronic issue. So inflammation, that's something I have talked about on probably every single show, that inflammation is at the heart and basis of almost every single disease. I would say almost, but really it is at the basis of every
It's
single
oxidative
disease.
Stress and inflammation.
Right. And there's so many things that produce that oxidative stress, but in order to turn it around, we are always on the search for things that would help to turn around. And this is a huge part of that. So if, patients are, I guess in oxidative stress, I want to open that up just a little bit more. So what are the things that cause us to have oxidative stress, and what does that do to our body? Why is it so important?
Well, oxidative stress, it damages cells and tissues. It damages the interior lining of the blood vessels. It damages cells and tissues. It causes the inflammation because your body is kind of on alarm.
Yes.
And that's another big part of uncoupling that NOS enzyme, the stress connection. Stress uncouples that NOS enzyme.
Yes, absolutely.
So get your exercise in. Exercise actually helps us increase that nitric oxide.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So get your exercise in. Do the deep breathing, like the nose breathing. The deep breathing actually helps you increase your nitric oxide too.
Right.
Kind of like there's medications that interfere with it. The antibiotics, yes. The antidepressants, yeah. The antifungals. The birth control pills. This is why they don't want you to take birth control pills when you're over 35, and right. Especially if you're a smoker.
Right.
It causes cardiovascular disease.
Absolutely.
The NSAIDs, like the ibuprofen, mm-hmm. the Aleve, these increase oxidative stress and uncouple that NOS enzyme.
Right. The
PPIs, those proton pump inhibitors, interfere with the production of nitric oxide through both pathways.
Wow.
So PPIs, when they were first put on the market, the insurance only covered a 6-week supply.
Right.
And now they're over the counter, and people have been taking them for decades.
Absolutely.
And cardiovascular disease is still the number one killer.
Yes.
And now they've been linked to dementia. To diabetes. And this is all because of that nitric oxide connection.
Right. So this really goes deep. It really goes deep. And I think that oxidative stress, if medications and, lack of exercise and, poor diet and all of these things, and we just say this over and over and over. I just say it, 20 times a day in clinic and here, and just over and over and over, how important these things really are to clean up and improve. And so, most people are just looking for a pill that can, change this and make everything better. And there is nothing that will just change everything, make everything better. But you can absolutely start in a place like this to begin to improve. Just take some small steps and, start to change your diet and exercise. And you don't have to jump in all at once, but just make some, small changes. And this is one of those places that you can do. And I'm going to have a code for everybody here in a little bit where you can go to the website, which will be on my website. I'm going to let you give that also in a minute. But that will be on my website. So if you can go to drpbetterlife.com, there will be a link that you can go to and order. And
it's a professional product, so you need to buy these through your practitioners.
Absolutely.
And yes. You are the practitioner.
Right. So it's not something just over the counter. It is something that it's not prescription. It is over the counter. It's not prescription, but you do have to get this through a practitioner because this is right. A very high quality, very, very professional product. And so I will have all that information on drpbetterlife.com. And the code, though, if once you're there, and the code will be there. But if you go to Berkeley Life, and what is the website? Where can they find you?
It's berkeleylife.com.
And that's easy. berkeleylife.com. And then the code is all in capital letters, and it's MPINK, PINKBL, as in Berkeley Life. So MPINKBL at berkeleylife.com. But again, I'll have that on my site as well. So I'm going to take a minute, Beth, and just pay homage to my sponsors who have been so kind to me this year. Pinnacle Research, has been with me now for several months. And I actually went not too long ago and got my FibroScan looking for issues with my liver. Like I say, I've had autoimmune hepatitis, but 1 in 3 people in South Texas are diagnosed with fatty liver every day. And it is an astounding statistic and a very slow killer. And so you can go get your free FibroScan, and it's something that takes literally about 3 minutes to do. Then I got a consult with the gastroenterologist, the liver specialist, who spoke with me at length about my situation, all for free, which was wonderful. And so you can go to pinnacleresearch.com to look up their information. They are in Austin up there with you guys at 512-601-5788. But in San Antonio, you can find them at 210-529-7978. And just go get your free FibroScan. The other group I need to talk about this morning, too, is Harbor Hospice. And I'm going to have Greg on. It's a very deep subject, and I'm going to have Greg on here in a couple of weeks to sit and discuss hospice. And so Harbor Hospice has also been very kind to me as well. So, Beth, we are going to take a short break here in just a second and come back on the other side and talk a little bit more about nitric oxide. But, in this day and age, and especially with all the stress in the world and things that we have going on, trying to avoid, you talked about the breathing technique. Can you give me a little bit of an idea? I know this is something we talk about A4M all the time. Breathing technique-wise, what is something that you describe to people how to do their breathing technique? Because people are like, okay, deep breathing, and that's it. What do you prescribe for people to do?
Well, it's always breathing through your nose.
Right.
Always breathing through your nose. And I do like what's kind of called a squared breathing. So count of 4 up, hold it for 4, count of 4 down, hold that for 4, like kind of in a square.
Right.
But when you're concentrating on your breathing too, you're actually kind of quieting your mind. So you're down regulating that stress response too.
Absolutely.
So that's so important.
It is. And so in through your nose and out through your mouth. But I know it sounds funny, but I really wanted you to describe that, because box breathing, I think, is what some people call it. But that is a great way to de-stress and improve, the functions of your body on a minute-to-minute basis. And you need to take time. That's why you've got your watch on that reminds you to breathe and do that. And that is the style that people should be doing. So we're going to take a short break and come back on the other side, and we are going to talk about more about nitric oxide. We'll be right back.
Fatty liver is linked to 2 different situations, alcohol and diabetes, or obesity. In both cases, patients can have no symptoms. In the United States, and in particular, Texas, the most common cause of liver disease in general is non-alcoholic fatty liver. Again, associated with overweight, obesity, and/or diabetes. Additional risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, Hispanic ethnicity, and postmenopausal status. At Pinnacle Clinical Research, we offer a quick, non-invasive ultrasound-based screening assessment called FibroScan. This test is done at no cost to you, and we do not take insurance. The test will measure the fat and stiffness in your liver and stage your risk and development of fatty liver disease. You will meet with a provider immediately following your scan to go over your results. If you're interested in getting more information on your liver health, please call 210-982-0320 and schedule your FibroScan today. We are conveniently located in the Medical Center at 5109 Medical Drive.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Mariane Pinkston. I am here with Beth Shirley today from Berkeley Life, a pharmacist and clinical nutritionist, and a very intelligent one at that. So we've been talking about a couple of features of the lack of nitric oxide as we age and what it does to us, how we get to that place where we don't have it, but what it does to us. And I think, Beth, we were talking about just a minute ago about energy, the lack of energy, but also blood sugar and the dysregulation of blood sugar. Those 2 hot topics here in South Texas. But what about lack of energy? Tell us how this will help us in the energy department.
Well, the mitochondria, they become like with all of these things, all the environmental toxins and the stress and all these things, they become uncoupled too. And that starts making superoxide,
Right.
more oxidative stress. But supporting the nitrate to nitrite to nitric oxide pathway with something like Berkeley Life actually recouples that electron transport chain. So not as much superoxide, not as much oxidative stress. And it helps with the production of energy with your ATP.
Mm-hmm.
And that has everything to do with how you feel.
Yes. When you
Because
feel
when you're
really
not
bad.
making that ATP,
Yes.
you don't have anything to run on.
Yes. That's why you get up feeling so poorly. And, there's a stress, I think, is at the heart of most all of it. I blame everything that's wrong with me on stress for sure. And, get up feeling run down, but you can't sustain the day. There's other pieces of the pie. There's, hormonal and vitamins and minerals and things that, that affect us. But I think, again, as I said before, we are starting at the heart of the function of our body in the cell, and that is the mitochondria. It's like we have our body, and then I have my heart. And so that's an organ in my body. Well, if you go down to the layer of the cell is the body, and the mitochondria is the heart, in my mind, of the cell. And that is the function that has to work correctly to produce all of our energy. And if it is not functioning, it doesn't have what it needs to function, then it'll either produce something really good that'll help us, or it'll produce something really bad that'll take us down. And so when you use something like Berkeley Life and support your nitric oxide pathway, you're doing something to support your body and make it work really well. And therefore, your brain works, your body works. You get up and go. You want to exercise and just feel like a powerful person, like you did when you were a lot younger. What about blood sugar?
Well, in order to bring the glucose into the cell, it requires nitric oxide. There's something called the GLUT4 receptor.
Mm-hmm.
It requires nitric oxide in order to translocate to bring glucose into the cell. So even by optimizing your nitric oxide, you actually improve your blood glucose.
Right.
You improve your hemoglobin A1C.
Yes.
You improve your insulin resistance.
And
so
that is a good thing.
This is the key to blood sugar regulation too.
Right.
So I wanted to say something about, it's like sleep is nitric oxide mediated.
Right.
So as our nitric oxide production decreases with our age, our sleep circadian pattern dysregulates. Right. And we all know how we don't feel good when we're not sleeping well.
Absolutely.
But also that blood sugar gets all messed up too when we're not sleeping well.
Yes.
When we're not sleeping well, nothing goes right.
You gain weight. You certainly can't lose weight very well, and you can't make your hormones, and you can't do any of those things. And now that you say that, I'm wondering if that's why I've been sleeping so good for several weeks now.
It's nitric oxide median, the circadian rhythm.
How about that? So that is amazing. Well, this has been a wonderful product for me. I don't recommend anything to anybody, A, unless I've tried it, if it's appropriate and I've tried it, or B, that I haven't seen the great science and results behind it. And I have, and I certainly trust you immensely. And this has been wonderful. So I really highly recommend it. And again, we are going to have all this information on my website, and I will lead you to Berkeley Life and berkeleylife.com in order to get this product. And I'll have a code for you so that you can get that. That is all capital letters. It's MPINKBL, so MPINKBL. And I will also have a direct link on the website if that is easy for you. So go to drpbetterlife.com and look us up and see all the past shows that we've got on YouTube and all the podcast platforms, including iHeartMedia and iHeartRadio, and for iTunes and Spotify and all the platforms. And also, I will have plenty of information on Beth and what she is doing. She's got an incredible amount of studies and knowledge and information. So if there are things that you would like to know, you can definitely reach out to me, reach out to her, and I will have some information for you. Because this is the pinnacle of starting to give the building blocks back to your body in order to build your energy, build your improved sleep, and get the toxins out and start to improve your health overall. So we can all do that. But Beth, it has been an absolute pleasure and honor to have you on the show today, and thank you for doing so.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you. Absolutely. And we will probably have her on again. But I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.